This is Jax. And if you've never seen a fully grown male stag beetle this massive out in the wild, I completely understand why you'd think it looks like something that escaped from a sci-fi movie. Those enormous mandibles, they're not for eating, they're weapons. Jax uses them to fight other males. And in the world of stag beetles, the loser gets thrown straight to the ground. I named him Jax, after a Caribbean pirate captain. Because honestly, those mandibles look exactly like a pirate's hook, and personally, I just think the name suits him. But today, I'm not keeping Jax anymore. Today, I'm releasing him back into the forest. The very same old-growth forest that Jax has never seen. Perhaps his great-great-grandparents never saw it either, but his ancestors came from here. And I promise you, this journey is not going to be simple. We'd only been in the forest a few minutes when the first creature stopped us dead in our tracks. Get a look at this! A caterpillar, but not the ordinary kind you'd find in your backyard. Its entire body is coated in dense white hair, and I'm not joking, that's actually dangerous. This thing is essentially a miniature biological weapon. Those spines aren't decorative, they're a full defense system. Any bird or lizard foolish enough to snap it up will immediately spit it right back out. It's intensely bitter and can cause serious irritation. Even I wouldn't dare touch it with my bare hands. The wildest part? Once it transforms into a moth, it'll look completely harmless and beautiful. But right now, at this stage, it's a living trap. I let Jax out when I spotted the caterpillar. Looks like Jax wasn't too fond of this little guy either. All right, Jax, let's keep moving. But we hadn't gone much further when I had to stop again. And what is it this time? A spiny orb weaver, and take a close look at its web. Right in the center, there's already a piece of prey stuck fast. The spiny orb weaver has a spiked abdomen that looks like the armor plating of a tiny medieval knight. And its web is nothing like your average spider web. It's woven with a specialized technique that creates a zigzag pattern that scientists call a stabilimentum. And the real reason behind that structure is still hotly debated to this day. Some say it's to lure in prey, others say it's for camouflage. Some say it signals birds to avoid flying through and destroying the web. Personally, I think this spiny orb weaver is just flexing. We walked a little further and came across a small rocky stream. And right on a boulder along the bank, there was something that made me zoom the camera in immediately. A cinnamon longhorn beetle, also known as a red longhorn. That vivid red-orange color across its body is no accident. It's a direct warning signal to predators. Don't even think about touching me. This species releases a cinnamon-like scent when threatened, and its mandibles are incredibly powerful. When provoked, those mandibles shift into full attack mode against anything that comes near. Its antennae are nearly as long as its whole body, and the longer the antennae, the stronger the male. Because they use them to sense their environment, find mates, and mark territory. Jax watched this one from a nearby rock, and I think they understood each other on some level. I glanced down at the water's surface, and what I saw nearly made me lose my footing. Water striders, and they were actively hunting right in front of me. These creatures can stand on the surface of the water, not through any kind of magic, but because their legs are covered in thousands of microscopic hairs, creating enough surface tension to support their entire body weight without sinking. But what's even more remarkable is how they hunt. They detect vibrations through the water's surface, like a built-in natural radar system. And the moment they sense prey struggling, they dart over in an instant. I stood there watching for about 2 minutes, completely mesmerized. Jax, on the other hand, could not care less. He just wanted out of this stream and away from these weird things gliding across the water. All right, I start moving again. Oh no, what in the world just sprayed me in the face? I'm not even joking, I moved the camera in close to get a look at a leaf. And a stink bug hiding underneath just blasted me directly in the face with a smell that is genuinely beyond words. Stink bugs have chemical glands located in their thorax. And when threatened, they spray a mixture of aldehydes that is absolutely vile. A defense mechanism so effective that almost no natural predator actually wants to eat them. Highly effective indeed. I can personally confirm that from direct experience just now. Jax, sitting on my shoulder, seemed to find the whole situation hilarious. After washing my face, we pushed deeper into the forest. And I came across a rotted palm tree stump. And what was inside it had me coming back to film it twice more. These are coconut rhinoceros beetles, also called elephant snout beetles. And this was an entire complete family. Plump, cream-white larvae nestled deep inside the rotting wood, and a glossy black adult crawling across the surface. That long snout on the adult's head isn't for sipping nectar. It uses that snout to drill into tree trunks and deposit its eggs inside. The larvae hatch, feed on the wood from the inside, and after several months, finally emerge as adult beetles. Their entire life cycle plays out inside a single decaying tree trunk. What's fascinating is, in certain parts of Southeast Asia, the larvae of this species are considered a delicacy. I've never tried one myself, and I'm honestly not sure I ever want to. We kept walking, and I started noticing a large tree up ahead. On the trunk of that tree, a male rhinoceros beetle was clinging on. That horn on its head, that's exactly what gives it the rhinoceros name. And it uses that horn to fight. Their fighting style is very distinctive. They don't bite, they don't sting. They ram into each other, lock horns, and try to flip their opponent off the tree. This one looked like it was patrolling its territory. I had a feeling this forest still had one more interesting encounter waiting for us, and soon. And then I saw them. Not just one. 3 of them. 3 rhinoceros beetles gathered around a sap wound oozing from a massive tree trunk. Tree sap is an incredibly valuable food source for this species. And where that sap is flowing, that spot becomes a hotly contested resource. These males weren't gathering here to eat together peacefully. They were waiting. Any male that wants access to the sap has to fight for the right to be there. And I'm holding in my hands a male stag beetle. With mandibles strong enough to cause real pain to anything they clamp down on. Jax was starting to move around much more restlessly in his container. I think he'd already picked up the scent of that sap. We walked a little further, and the forest began to open up. The sound of water. A small waterfall cascading down over moss-covered rocks. Light filtering through the canopy, falling directly onto the white rushing water below. I stopped. Not because of any creature, but because I wanted Jax to see this. I opened the container and set him down on a large boulder right in the middle of the stream. Jax went completely still. He didn't run, he didn't struggle. He just stood there, antennae trembling gently in the breeze, his mandibles opening slightly, then closing again. I didn't say a word, I just let the camera roll. There are moments in the forest that don't need any explanation. This was one of them. And then, just as I was getting ready to wrap up the journey, I saw it. On a tree trunk not far away, another male stag beetle was clinging to the bark. I froze. This one wasn't small. Its mandibles were spread open, locked in a defensive stance. It sensed that something unfamiliar was moving into its territory. I carefully placed Jax onto the tree trunk, about 20 centimeters from the other one, then stepped back. They looked at each other. No sound, no movement at all for the first few seconds. Then Jax began moving forward, one step at a time, his mandibles reaching out. Not attacking, not threatening. This is their language. This is how two stag beetles communicate with each other. By gauging distance, by sizing each other up. Before deciding whether the other is friend or foe. The other one paused, then slowly extended its own mandibles in response. I had no idea where the story between these two was headed. But that was no longer my place to know. Jax had made it home, and he had found his own kind. I switched off the camera and let the forest take care of the rest. If you've watched this far, thank you, genuinely. Taking Jax back to the forest is one of the most meaningful things I've ever done on this channel. Subscribe to follow along on my next explorations and challenges. Because I promise you, this forest still has so much left to be discovered. Until next time, my friend.